All right, everybody, welcome to our 3.2 lesson now. We're going to take what we learned in 3.1 and we're now going to change it up a little bit. We are now looking here at parallel lines with transversals. So parallel lines and transversals, some things are going to change where we can actually find angle measurements. So the first thing, we're using the diagram below. Name the type of angle pair and if they are congruent or supplementary. So we're going to be looking at, we've got all the angle measurements all here for us. So we can tell if they're the same or if they add to 180. So the first angle pair we're going to look at here is going to be angle AEP. So we go from A down to E over to P. So we're looking at this angle. Let me get that light off. There we go. And angle EFR. So we go from E to F to R. It's going to be on the other side. Let me get that erased a little bit. So we go from E to F to R. And we need to look at what kind of angle pair this is. Well, we have them on the same side, but one's exterior, one's interior. So we see that the first angle is at the top right, left, and the bottom one is at the top left. They are in the same position. We learned that these are what we call corresponding angles. And when you take a look at their measurements, they're both 110 degrees, meaning they are congruent. Okay? Next, we're going to take a look at angle AEP. So we're going from point A, which is up here, down to E, over here to P. So we're using the same angle. Just going to do another color, kind of layer it. And we're going to compare it to angle QEF. So look from Q to E to F. So we're looking for this guy right here. As we have learned, when you have angles across the vertex from each other, we have vertical angles. Take a look at our angle measurements, and they are congruent. Next, let's take a look at angle AEP. So we're still looking at AEP right here. And we're going to compare it to angle PEF. So from P to E down here to F. So PEF. So these two right here that I have in pink are right next to each other on a line, linear line. So here we have a linear pair. We take a look at our two angle measurements. Now we have 110 and 70. So they're absolutely not congruent. But when you add them together, they equal 180. So now we have supplementary. This is the last one I'm going to do with you, and you will do the rest of them. Okay? But we're looking at AEP again. So we're still looking at this angle right here, the one that's 110 degrees. We're comparing it to angle SFB. So we find S, we go to F, and we go to B. So we're looking at this angle right here. We're going to notice that they are on opposite sides or alternate sides of our transversal. And they are exterior of now what is our parallel lines. So we can see these little triangles showing us that these are our parallel lines. We're on alternate sides of the transversal, exterior. So we have alternate exterior angles. We look and we see that they are both 110 degrees. So we can conclude that these are also going to be congruent. You are going to fill out the last three. And then down here at the bottom, according to what we have in this third column, we're going to identify which angle pairs are congruent and which angle pairs are supplementary. Okay? The next part of the notes, we are going to now look at, okay, we have these parallel lines, and we have them marked with the arrows here, okay? Then we have our transversal. We're now saying, because we have parallel lines, if we have two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, if and only if, remember that as our biconditional, if and only if the pairs of alternate interior angles, right here, are congruent. So we are concluding that they are congruent. And we can identify these alternate interior angles in our picture. alternate interior. We could say right here, this angle and this angle are going to be alternate interior. I'm going to put a little one line in it saying these are congruent. We have another pair. It's going to be this angle and this angle. And we're going to put two lines so that we know that the pink and the blue are not congruent to each other. Our alternate exterior angles, two parallel lines are cut by a transversal if and only if the pairs of alternate exterior angles are congruent. So again, we can identify our alternate exterior. So if I look at this angle right here, I'm going to go to the alternate side, go to the exterior on the other parallel. They are congruents. And then we can look over here and see our other pair of alternate exterior angles. We now have our same side interior angles, saying that if two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, if and only if the pairs of same side interior angles are supplementary. What I like about the same side, you have S, same side supplementary. So we have that S, S, and S. Same side supplementary. So here we can identify, now I can't do congruent markings anymore because they're not congruent, so I'm going to change it to shapes. All right? My first pair of same side interior angles, I'm going to stay on the same side of the transversal and stay interior. Just draw a little dot or a little circle here. These are same side interior. My other pair are over here, and I'll do like little triangles, so we have a different shape. So just in case you do not have colors, you can draw the shapes. All right? Next, two parallel lines are cut by a transversal if and only if the pair of same side exterior angles are also supplementary. So there's our same side supplementary. So no matter whether they're interior or exterior, they will be supplementary. So we can show in our diagram a little circle here. And then I'm going to stay on the same side of the transversal and go to the other exterior. Those will be same side exterior. And then here are the other pair. We talked about that in the last video. We're just now saying they're supplementary. Your corresponding angles, I'll be using 4 different colors on this one of 4 different shapes. Your corresponding, we have two parallel lines are cut by a transversal if and only if the pairs of corresponding angles are congruent. Corresponding congruent. Okay, so we have those C's. So here we have 4, like we saw in the last video, we have 4 different kinds of corresponding. We can go with our top right over here, and we have our circle. Other intersection, top left. Top left. So top left, top left. Then we have our top right. And our top right. Then we have our bottom left over here, do a little square, and our bottom left. And the last one we have our bottom right, I'll just do a little star, bottom right. So these are our corresponding. Now I did accidentally do the circles up here on these, the same side exterior, so if you don't have colors, they're all going to look the same. So we'll make sure we change that to triangles. Okay. The next section is now going to be using this information about their congruent or supplementary. We're going to use information to actually solve for a variable. So here we're going to use the following figure, this one right here, to solve for the missing variable. So what I'm going to do is my colors do erase. So I can actually go and I can erase these, but we're looking at measure of angle 1 right here. Okay, we're going to have as 80 degrees. My measurement of angle 5 over here is going to be 20x. So we first need to look at what kind of angles do we have. Well, we are on alternate sides of that transversal, and we are exterior. So here we need to note we have alternate exterior angles, and we know that alternate exterior angles are going to be congruent. meaning the measurements are equal. So we will set these equal to each other. So I will take the 80 is equal to 20x, and we will go through and we will solve for x, one step only. Nice, easy. We divide by 20. X is going to equal 40. If you don't like to see it like this, you can use your symmetric property and say x equals 40. Okay? Next, we are going to solve if measurement of angle 7 right here is x plus 109, and the measurement of angle 6 right here is x plus 89. I'm going to take a look at these two angles. I see that they are on the same side of the transversal, so same side, and we are interior. So we have same side interior angles, and we learned same side supplementary. So we're going to have this as supplementary. So we're going to take these two and add them to equal 180 degrees. So I'm going to take first my x plus 109. I'm going to add my x plus 89, set it equal to 180 degrees. The first thing we need to do with this problem before we start moving things around from one side to the other, you have to remember we need to combine these like terms first. We combine these two x's and we get 2x. And then we combine our positive 109 and our positive 89. And we're going to wind up with, change this back over to blue, a positive 198, all set equal to 180. Now we need to go through, we need to finish our last two steps. The next step we need to do, we need to move this 189 to the other side by doing the opposite, subtract 189 from both sides, 198 from both sides. We're going to wind up with 2x equals, we will have a negative. We're subtracting a bigger from a smaller. Please double check with your calculators, okay? We will wind up with a negative 18. We have 2x equals negative 18. Divide both sides by 2. We're going to find out that x is going to equal a negative 9. And that's okay. When we plug it back in, we will get positive numbers, okay? The next two problems that you have, you're going to do on your own. You do. So I want you to identify what angles we have and set them up and solve for x. The last example, we're going to identify different angle measurements. If I give you one angle measurement, I'm going to go ahead and circle the ones that you are going to do on your own. Okay? That way you guys can see I will be skipping around. These angle measurements you will need to do on your own, but let's go ahead and get started with this. All right? First off, we are told that the measurement of angle 1 is 62 degrees. So I'm going to come over here and label this 62 degrees. So you see we don't have that down here. But we do want to know what the measurement of angle 2 is. Well, if we look at angle 2, we need to look at what relationship angle 2 is going to have with angle 1. And we see that they are right next to each other on a line. Adjacent on a line. So this is a linear pair. We know that a linear pair is going to add to equal 180. So all we need to do is take that 180, subtract the 62 degrees, and we're going to wind up with 118. So we want to label it in our picture and on the line. 3 you're going to get on your own, 4 you're going to get on your own. Let's take a look at measurement and angle number 5. 5 is down here. So there's several different ways we can, well, this one, if you already have 3 and 4, you can use 3 and 4 to help you find 5. But right now, the only thing I can do to find 5 is notice that angle 2 and angle 5 are both in the top left. They're in matching or corresponding positions. Corresponding congruent. So that means measurement angle 5 is also 118 degrees. Measurement of angle 6, next one over here. Angle 6 we see is right next to angle 5, or since we've already done a linear pair, let's take a look at what else we can do so we don't have to sit there and subtract. Angle 6 and angle 1 have a relationship here. Okay? The angle 1 and angle 6 are on alternate sides of transversal S, and they are exterior. Again, I forgot to do this, but we don't need any of this stuff over here. Okay? We're just looking here. Here are parallel lines. We are on alternate sides of the transversal, and we are exterior. And we learned that alternate exterior angles are congruent. So here we can conclude that angle 6 will also be 62 degrees. You will find angle 7 on your own, okay? And we will move over to angle 8. And angle 8, we can look at a few different ways. We can look at a linear pair with angle 5. We can look at corresponding with angle 1. If you have angle 3 or angle 4 done already, we can do alternate interior or same side interior. Or we haven't looked at this one in a while. Angle 6 and angle 8 are across the vertex, vertical angles. And we know that vertical angles are congruent. So angle 8 will also be 62 degrees. All right. Move on to angle 9. Angle 9 is now on the other side. So we want to ignore this stuff over here. Because notice that line P and line S are not parallel. So we cannot compare any of these angles on transversal S with any of the angles on transversal P, because they are not parallel. So we're going to cover up line S. We want to take a look at the measurement of angle 9. Well, the measurement at angle 9, we kind of have to backtrack a little bit, because we need to see that angle 9 and angle 10 are a linear pair. They're on a line together. They're going to be supplementary, and we're given information about angle 10. So I'm actually going to start over here at angle 10 and say, okay, well, what does that little box tell me? Well, it tells me it's 90 degrees. So here we go, 90 degrees. And since angle 9 and angle 9 and angle 10 are both a linear pair, so they're supplementary, we know that 180 minus 90 is 90. So they both have to be 90 degrees. Last, we'll look at angle 16 together. Okay, find a color I have not used. Or my lime green will show up. We'll find out. So we're looking at angle 16 right here. We can look at it with angle 10 and say they're same side exterior. Or we can look at it with angle 9 and say they are alternate exterior. We know that alternate exterior are congruent, meaning angle 16 will be 90 degrees as well. So down here, we can go ahead and claim this as 90 degrees. You need to go fill out the rest of these on your own, and we will take a look at it during class the next day, and that is the end of these notes.